everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantal.
I'm Lindsay.
Meg. That's Megan. She can't get her shit together.
And I've had one sip of my whiskey and Coke.
That's why I stuck to iced coffee today. It's just...
I feel like it's been a week.
It has been.
Yeah.
I never skip lunch. I think it's important to leave your desk and go take lunch. And I haven't had a lunch, I don't even know, pretty much since I started. There's just always something to do. And I was sick yesterday, didn't even go to work yesterday, and it was a short week. And I feel like it's been the longest
Oh
week
my
ever.
God, it was a short week, and it was the longest week ever. You're right.
Anywho.
Thankfully, next week is a short week for me because we have.
We don't get another short week until
next
July.
Well, Lindsay, while I'm happy for you, I'm equally furious.
Yeah. I would
Yes,
like
but
another short week.
I know. I think every week should be a short week.
I would
Yes.
prefer to not work and just get money.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we do that? Unless it's this.
Maybe if you
This is
contribute
okay
to our
to work on.
podcast. Nice
Support
listener.
support us on coffee so we can stop our bitching and complaining about having a real job.
This could be a real job. Podcasting is a real job.
This is a real job
It's a
for
lot
many
of work.
folks, just
Yeah.
not us.
Not us.
Yes.
Yet.
No.
However, I mean, all joking aside, if you want to follow us on coffee and throw $2 our way, American, that would be
Yeah.
great.
That'll be
would-
$3 Canadian.
Half a coffee, here I come.
Let's go
Okay.
to Timmy's.
Yes.
Let's all be serious because
Right.
I am happy to be here and I want to hear what the
I
story
know.
is.
Yes. Well, I am just so glad to see you guys. I've been through, we've all been through a lot this week. My stuff's been moving related. So next
You
week
real
I
stuff.
move.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get this place ready. So many home improvement projects. I love it, but it's hard
Hate it.
because I'm I'm also busy and I am working full time.
That's a
and I
lot.
have kids
And a
all the stuff
podcast.
and a podcast baby. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's been my week, but stuff's coming together, and you just saw my last update photo, so I'm excited
Which
to.
I'm obsessed with that vanity. I
show
want to take that vanity out for a nice steak dinner. That's how much I like that vanity.
So cute, right?
And dessert.
Yes.
Oh.
Maybe I'll even post a story with my before and after for a couple of
Yes.
days if people want to see that. I know that content's at least big on my feed now because
Of
my
your
algorithms
algorithm.
picked up that I'm
Yeah,
they're like,
that's
oh,
fair.
here's more videos about different paint colors and
I'm still obsessed.
little
I love that
DIY projects. So
I do
anyway.
love that stuff, but I can definitely see when you're in it, it'd be way more. It's like when you're getting married and your things get flooded with all of those type of things, and it's like
Took me
I'm-
6 months
Megan,
to
I
fix
imagine
my
your-
algorithm.
Yeah, your algorithm must have been crazy before your wedding.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
lot. It was.
I
a
know
lot
it should be
there.
like a button where it's like, hey, married now. Stop.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Stop. I don't care anymore. Same thing with
Yeah.
you, Lindsay. You're like, house is done. Please stop.
Yeah. No more.
Now I
don't
want to
wanna
fix
see
so many
anything
other
more.
things.
Yeah, because then I'll want to keep going. But
I was content with the paint color that I picked, and now I want this one.
exactly. But
Mhm.
yeah, lots of kids stuff still. So those haven't stopped and never will. So.
You still
Yeah.
have the kids, so it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. But cute cats still come up too. That's been on the
I mean,
thank
algorithm
God.
for
That's
many
all that
years.
I get. Okay, I
Yeah.
just gotta see. Okay, I keep thinking that something's on my computer screen, but I actually think it's just something on your couch, Megan. What is on your couch?
This.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
I see it too.
Right?
I'll
It
tell
looks-
you. I'll tell you what it is. It's the cheapest cat toy you've ever seen.
Okay, it looked like a moth on my
Okay.
screen.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
supposed
yeah.
to. It's a piece of wire
Oh,
with
I've seen
little
those.
cardboard bits on the end. And I
Yeah.
think it's called Cat Dancer. And it's
Okay.
meant to look like a little fly or a little bug or something.
Well, it
and
worked.
It
Jessica
does,
loves
yeah.
it. Yeah, you
Okay.
thought it was a
Yeah,
moth.
I did. I was like, what is on my screen? This is bothering me.
Is it distracting?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. But I will move it out of the way. Get it, Lindsay. Get it. Get it. Oh, good girl.
Oh
For those
my
that are not
God.
watching, that's going to sound really weird.
Yeah. Well, I've shared my stuff. Does anyone else have anything to share with the class?
I just am
No.
on lack of sleep right now and
That's
training at
fair.
work. The girl is lovely. I'm not complaining about her. It's just a process. That's all. But I do have a really
Yeah.
cute kitty sleeping next to me right now, so I'm pretty happy.
Mine is just
she is
over the
adorable.
couch cushion, so I can see her.
Aw.
And I think I told you guys, maybe for the podcast, that there is a gentleman that I work with who is like the head of like the food and beverage department. And he's in his 60s. He's Chinese, but he's raised Indian. And he's just the coolest. Like his story, we've taught, oh my God. Anyway, we're like best friends and we get along so well. And everyone's like, he must like you. I'm like, yeah, we're like buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
We're tight.
So he does this thing now where he will send a server into the office. He makes no eye contact. He'll put a takeout container on my desk with a sly smile and walk away. And I know it's him sending treats and stuff to me.
Aw, I love that.
That's so nice.
So-
you
and
made
the
a good
server-
friend.
Well, just
Mhm.
but he's such a good person. Anyway, I love
Yeah.
this guy. So the server just drops the food, takes off, and then I get a phone call and he's like, "Did you get the package?" I'm like,
Seems like a drug deal or something.
Yeah.
right? God, I wish I got drugs for free at work too. Anyway,
Yeah.
and
Don't we all?
apparently it's in the fridge waiting for me, and it's like some delicious sandwich and sides, and
Oh.
like it's just.
Oh
So
my
I had
God.
a rough week, and that was a great way to.
So even if
end
you
it.
can't take your lunch break, you still have somebody
Mhm.
there that like ensures that you're getting food.
Yeah, and to
Which
be
is-
fair,
that's
he
really
yells at me and
nice.
he says, "Hey, take your lunch. Hey, leave early." And so he's like a good supporter in that way. It's just.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was off sick yesterday and just you want to get all the crap done because my boss is so great. So I want to like do a good job for her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'll finish it on Monday. But anyway, so it's not nearly as big as like Lindsay's stuff or even Chantel's your stuff because you're training someone. It's just long week. I'm tired, but I'm
Oh,
happy.
all our stuff's all big.
Nothing is. We don't have to
all
compare.
deserve a drink on Friday. Yeah.
And I'm excited to be mad, probably, Lindsay, or
Yeah,
sad.
Yes.
From what we heard. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, this story is a lot. I
Oh,
actually had
God.
never heard of this story until we started doing the podcast because then I was looking into different ship stories that I could cover. And a lot of them are disasters and tragedies.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Your favorite. You've always loved
Yes.
disasters.
Right. Usually you don't hear about a ship that had a great life and retired and
Yeah.
everyone was
It's like,
happy.
and then it just
Sorry,
stopped
what a-
one day.
What a snooze fest.
Yeah.
I know.
Everyone lived.
I mean, unless it was, except for my SS United States, but that was sad because the
Mhm.
ship was.
I'm sorry. Like, no, that didn't end
abandoned.
well.
No,
Also,
yeah,
if
the
you
ship
didn't
was
sign the
sad at the
petition,
end.
go sign the petition.
Right. I think it's
Yes.
still time, but it's not much time. If
It's
there's
running
even
out
any
of
hope.
time.
I guess.
I was like, did I
Okay.
sign
Alright.
it? Yes, I signed it. I remember.
Oh my God, I was gonna
Because I
say-
made the TikTok and then I was like, right, go sign the petition.
Yes.
It's kind of like when you were in so deep, you forget to do the thing,
The
like the
thing,
call
the
to
thing,
action.
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
I know. Even when I first saw it, I was like, I'll do it later. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, oh no, I didn't do it. Then I finally did
This
it.
is your
So-
reminder, kind of like, and that's why we drink. Drink some water, please.
Mhm.
Take your
Yeah.
meds or your vitamins, and go to our Instagram. I think I have it linked in our bio still, and sign that petition.
Webpage
Yes.
as well too. You can
Yeah,
find it
yeah.
look
somewhere.
around,
You'll
and
find
find it.
Find
You
it.
can even Google
Yeah.
it. You'll
Yeah.
find it.
That's a lot. Sorry, that's too much.
All right. So this story, I think, has been forgotten for a lot. Like, I'm sure some people know about it, but it's not nearly as big as other cases like the Titanic. And funny enough, this has been called Asia's Titanic.
Oh my God.
So just to give you an idea what we're in for today. Of course, with this ship, the passenger list, no one famous.
Is that why
a
no
lot
one
of
cares?
people who probably is a
God
big reason,
damn.
right?
Why are we like this?
And then, like the Titanic, we have a similar theme that I'm going to talk about when it comes to safety.
Okay.
Are you shocked?
No,
We were watching something
No.
about the Titanic the other day, and Vadim was like, "How was that allowed?" I was like, "I don't know.
Oh,
it just wasn't in
honey.
the rules back then. Like they could do whatever they wanted."
Right. And this back then is actually back to 1987. So,
Oh, wow.
yes.
Recent.
Right around the birth of our beautiful Megan, actually.
Oh.
So, really, not long ago at all. Right?
Wait,
Yeah.
so exactly, it's
Yeah.
like yesterday. So
Yeah.
is my fate tied with this boat? I sure hope not.
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
so. But it wasn't a good
How
way
many
for
life
you to enter the
preservers do you
world with this
carry?
story happening shortly after.
Chantel, I don't carry enough to answer your question.
I'm
Just one
know.
and two.
You got some natural flotation device happening.
Oh, and the
So
butt. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, 3, right.
this is the worst maritime disaster during peacetime. This is the story of the MV Doña Paz.
Wish I
All
didn't make a
right.
joke just then before you said
Oh,
that.
oh, we can take it out later.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
okay.
It's very on brand
Yeah,
to like
yes.
put your foot in your mouth. So
We know you'll be in tears by the
We
end of
love the
this
taste of our
story.
feet, so it's okay.
Yeah.
hey, if you're willing to pay for that, DM us.
Yeah. We'll take anything.
I'll get a pedicure for that.
I want to quit my job so bad. No, I'm kidding.
I just want to work because I want to work, not because I have to work, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. That's all that I
That's all-
want. I think we all deserve that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Back
You guys
to
ready
this.
to be sad now?
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna shut up.
All right. You can look at my first photo. This is the MV Doña Paz. It was built in 1963 in Japan under the name Himiyuri Maru. It was originally a passenger ferry with the capacity to hold 608 people. I'm not sure
So
exactly
specific.
when this picture of it was taken, but
Okay, I was
it
going to
looks
ask.
a little like
It needs a paint job.
little
maybe.
rusty.
yeah, needs a little
But
love.
it looks
right?
intact.
It's intact. Yes. Well, we'll talk about its history a little bit.
I don't like the way
So-
you said that.
Yes,
Well,
it
I'm gonna
does
tell you,
look
like, Intact.
yes, it does. So it mainly serviced routes around Japan in its early days. It was sold in 1975 to a company called Sulpicio Lines. Sulpicio Lines. Sorry, I just said that wrong.
Sulpicio lied.
Sulpicio.
It's all about the
Lines.
emphasis on this right
A company
syllable.
based in the
Syllab.
Philippines.
Sorry.
I know. It's one of those words, again, where I think I know how to say it, but I probably don't.
Until you try.
In here, it sounds right. In here,
Yeah.
it was perfect. When it
Flawless.
came out,
And I
don't know
even
what
heard other people
happened.
say it. I was like, got it. But
Yeah.
no.
Heard it
I
once.
practiced in the
don't need
mirror.
to
I
hear it
practiced
again.
in the shower.
Exactly. All day, just saying it over and over. And then I on air and no.
I actually missed a meeting because I was practicing in the bathroom.
So that line, which I'm not going to say their name again right away because I need a minute. They purchased the ship to become one of their main vessels. It was renamed to Don Sulpicio. I had to say it again. All right. Okay. There we go.
Are you okay? Are you all right?
Just some more iced coffee. Just one sec.
Get the neurons
that
firing.
whistle.
So after joining Sulpicio Lines, it serviced routes in the Philippines, mostly from Manila to Cebu. And it had a successful run for about 4 years until a fire on board the ship paused the trips. It was in June 1979. Everyone on board, all 1,164 people, were evacuated. So that was good.
Wait.
No one died.
I thought that the
I thought it was
capacity was 608.
608, yeah.
It was, okay? In Japan, it was that. But Sulpicio Lines, and I'm going to talk about in a second,
They were like double
upped
it.
that. Yeah. They
Okay.
increased the capacity of what
Alright.
they thought it could
Seems
handle.
safe.
Yes.
Oh.
So that they were evacuated, though. The ship was paid out insurance money, and the ship was declared a complete loss. So, but again, luckily no one died. And the
That's
company
good. Yeah.
afterwards end up buying their ship back from the underwriters to fix it up and put it back in service.
Oh.
So they're like, it's not that bad, I guess. We'll fix her up, and
Just slap a
they probably
band-aid
used
on
that
it.
yeah, and maybe they use insurance money to then buy her back and fix her. So because it was
Okay.
part of they had 2 main vessels, I guess, and they probably really needed that extra ship, I'm guessing.
Oh,
So
okay. I don't
at
like
this
it.
point, the ship was renamed to the MV Doña Paz, which translates roughly to Lady Peace.
Oh.
Okay.
So the Doña Paz, by the way, MV, do you guys know what that stands for? Because we've talked about RMS.
Massive vessel.
Very close.
Main
Motor. Motor
Aw, I was gonna say majestic, and then you cut me off, Lindsay. God,
I knew you were about, and the third time you would have got it too. I'm sorry.
We
exactly.
were almost there.
Can you say it one more time? Because I was so excited about the one that I didn't get to say that I didn't absorb what you said.
What, the motor vessel?
Motor vessel. That's so boring.
Yeah, it is.
That's
I'd
so
much rather be an
boring.
RMS, but whatever. Okay. So the Doña Paz started a regular route between Tacloban and Manila. You can look at my map there when roughly of where it started to Manila is the more northern point on my little map.
I see
Okay.
Masbate Island, and I have questions.
Don't ask me anything else about the map.
It's just
That's
missing
for-
a ta.
Yeah.
Or a tur?
No. You'd say a ta for sure.
Oh,
Sorry, we're adults. Like,
Yeah.
I know.
we're-
Did you guys see this
somewhere.
thing I sent you the other day on Instagram with all the like the crazy names
Yes.
of places?
Oh my
God. It had
God.
me like
Oh, yes.
cry laughing. I
Yeah,
don't know why I was
that was
thought it was
good.
so funny, but
There's one area, I think it's somewhere in Ottawa. Oh, or maybe it's in Nova Scotia. Either way, it's Canada.
Mhm.
And it's a little tiny neighborhood, and the streets are called this, that, and other.
I love that.
that's perfect.
And then also somewhere in Ottawa, there's like Scully Lane and Mulder Drive, and they're side by side.
Oh my God, we have to go
Sorry, did you
there.
guys not know about this? Hold on. I thought for
No.
sure. Wait, okay. Lindsay, continue. I'm just going to
Okay.
find this real
Okay.
quick.
I have a question.
All right. Yes.
You said your first one is the first star?
So
North
Manila,
Star?
the capital, is the north one. That's where they're
Okay, just underneath San
Destination was.
Fernando. Okay.
yes. And then there is a little X, which we'll get
Okay.
to eventually.
That's what I was
But the
looking at.
other more southern star point is where they would start their journey, which is on the island of Leyte.
Just underneath Masturbate Island.
Exactly.
That's my favorite island.
All right.
Sorry.
No worries. So
We have
it
to
would
find humor
complete
somewhere.
About 2 trips a week, and it was a very common path. So a lot of people would travel via ferry to go through the islands in the Philippines. So this was pretty normal. The number of passengers had increased quite dramatically from the original capacity that you noticed earlier. So very good on both of you for noticing.
We
went
would be
from-
great safety officers.
Yes. Hey there. That wasn't the
Wait,
right number.
wait. There's 6 people in this car. Pretty
Taking
sure there's only
anything
5
past you.
seatbelts.
You
Right?
two uggos out. You
can't
know
sit
who you
with us.
are. Don't pretend. No, I'm so kidding. Sorry, that's so mean. I'm kidding, obviously.
No. Yes, we know you're nice.
Mm-hmm.
It went from 608 to 1,518 passengers and 66 crew. So that was the
Whoa.
increase.
That's even more when it caught on fire.
Yeah.
well,
it was
yeah. So that-
1,100.
and when they caught on
1,100.
fire, they were like under capacity. So
Well, they were
They
over
didn't
the
even
old
push it
capacity.
to the limits.
Oh my
Right.
God.
then I did do some
Jesus.
like they
added
remodeled
some
it a little
seats.
bit. So they're probably
I
like, well, we
still-
did these things. So
If the
now
whole
we can fit
boat
more.
burned out from the outside in or inside out, and they're like, it's fine, then they like triple the capacity almost. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't like it.
Yeah. So on December 20th, 1987, so like I said, literally days after the birth of our beautiful Megan,
little baby.
and
so
I was
close to
about ready to
Christmas.
be born.
Yeah, you were coming up. You were just
And
almost
Chantal
done
was
baking.
the side of
I was
a
baking.
cashew or something.
Yeah.
Chantal was like marinating. She wasn't quite
Yeah,
ready to come out
maybe
yet.
she was
And then I took a
like,
long
I don't
time
know,
even after I was
an
done
apricot
marinating.
or something. I don't know. Yeah, she took her good all the time. I forgot
Yeah.
you were late. Your poor
Oh
mother.
yeah. I was real late. Listen, I do things on my own time, okay?
Hey, that's 2 extra weeks of sleep she got, really.
Yeah, I did.
If you think
Her
about it.
favorite.
My favorite is why I love sleep.
Her mom loved it too.
Exactly.
Middle summer,
So-
yeah, perfect. Being 10 months pregnant, she loved it.
Yeah, in July.
You're such a bitch, by the
And
way.
you were like, what, 20 pounds?
Might as well have been 10 pounds, full head of hair. Like, just
you're such
You're like a
bitch.
toddler, pretty much.
I was. Surprised I didn't have teeth.
She came out being like, fruit snacks.
Yeah. But Chantal
Okay,
was a
back-
cute baby, so
I
she
was
got that.
adorable.
I mean,
Yeah, I've seen
that's
the
the only reason
pictures.
why your mom was like, okay, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, I'll keep
Right.
her.
So at 6:30 a.m., the Doña Paz would embark on her regular route to Manila, full of passengers eagerly waiting to spend the holidays with family. So many
Oh
are
my
traveling
God,
with
yeah,
young
just before
children.
Christmas.
I know, sorry. This is like where it starts to get really hard. There's lots of luggage, lots of excitement. This would have been probably very dampened once they got on board because the amount of people on this ship was insane. So there was no room. People were like just sitting on the floors. There were multiple people sitting on one cot. So ideally it would be like, everyone gets their own. But
Hey, how
Yeah.
long is the trip? Maybe you already said it.
it's about 20 hours, or at least less than 24 hours to get from point A
Wow.
to final destination.
Sorry, when you said ferry in my head, I was thinking like 10 hours max.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was originally thinking like maybe it's like a couple day trip, but they'd have, real accommodations. But no, it was almost a full day on the ship with
Wow.
very little. So it was not luxurious at all. So really, when you call it Asia's Titanic, it's a far cry from probably what the people in the Titanic had, even third class.
Mm-hmm.
So the ship's manifest stated that it had a passenger list of 1,493 with a crew of 59. But in
God.
reality, as you can probably tell from just the situation, those numbers were actually much different. So many extra tickets were being sold to undocumented passengers, especially during the holidays. They would try to they knew they could get more people
Such
on
a
the
cash
ship.
grab. Oh
Exactly.
my God. I hate this shit.
So I think some people would, and I don't know if the owners even knew per se if this would happen, because maybe some of the crew could always sell extra tickets.
Happening under the table type
Oh,
thing.
Right.
well-
When people just bored, will give you a ticket for cheaper. So I
But
don't
listen,
know.
or maybe even
all
like just
that.
pocketing the money, like no
Yeah.
ticket.
Well,
like
listen, but that being said, the owners obviously are setting the limit and they've increased it threefold already. So I don't put it past them to not really check on what their workers are doing. Or maybe if someone said, hey, I bought a ticket, but I had no assigned seat. And there's like, oh, whatever, because it's just everyone's just trying to get cash. Everyone's just,
Right.
trying to.
Yeah. Corners are being cut for sure. And there was
Yeah.
no one verifying or anything like that. Another thing that was a problem was that any young children under 4 were not counted on the manifest either. So, imagine families traveling with like a few kids. That's a lot of extra people
Jesus.
that aren't being counted.
Yeah.
There
Kids
was
count as people,
also
people.
Exactly.
After they're born. Oh,
Isn't
sorry.
it like you have to
Yeah.
pay for a flight as of 2, don't you?
As of 2, yeah. So I carried
Yeah.
my kids until I couldn't, because I was
Yeah.
trying to.
You
Are
know,
you-
it's
are
like
you still trying to
$100
say-
just to go to Halifax?
Are you
and
still trying to
back?
say that your 7-year-old is too? He's just a very, very big too.
He's
Megan,
just
if
tall.
I could, I would sit them both on my lap for 8
Okay.
hours.
Yeah, like you hold your son holds your daughter, and you just hold on to everyone. Like, yeah, this is for free.
Exactly. And I get all of us to sit on Eric if I could after that. Be like, we're one seat.
We're one. What's the problem?
All right,
The
everyone
seatbelts extend. I know they have those
Exactly.
extra extenders
Yep.
too.
Oh,
Tell
yeah.
me where it says that I can't do this.
There's definitely me and my kids could fit in one seatbelt. I know it.
Oh
But
yeah. for sure
apparently
they
it's
could.
not safe. So
Maybe
Which
we
is
wouldn't
not-
be good
do
officers on this boat.
yeah, you can be part of the problem. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Just
There
depends
was
if we like you or
also
not.
apparently a bunch of soldiers that got on last minute undocumented as well. So
God.
eyewitnesses were just saying the ship's filled to the brim. Like I said, multiple people and cots, just jam packed. And one eyewitness also said the ship was heavily listing before it even left. And we all
Oh
know
my God.
listing, especially heavily listing,
Heavily,
is
yeah.
not good. So
Mm.
other passengers described it as being like a cockroach swarming everywhere. That's like how it felt. It was just not pleasant. Also, the food on the ship was hard to come by as well. Like there was a kitchen, but with that many people, it was hard to even get food. So I can imagine some people were probably just
This is like
doing
a
their
fucking
best to
nightmare.
just make it through the night, and get to
Yeah,
where they're
like
going.
okay, it's
enjoy
20
the
hours. We
holidays.
can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So as it's going on its journey, meanwhile, there's another ship coming in the opposite direction called the MT Vector. It is
Cool
carrying an
name.
extremely, carrying an extremely dangerous load of 8,000 barrels of gasoline and kerosene.
This is like
Which
the
equals
Halifax
to
explosion
more,
meets the Titanic.
Oh my
Pretty much.
God.
It equals more than 1 million liters or over 1,000 tons. And yeah, I was actually thinking about that too earlier, because you think about the Halifax explosion, if one didn't have all this ammunition, like literally nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the ships would have just gone off and parted ways and probably beached themselves on each side of the harbor. But when you have this much ammunition, you need to be careful, which unfortunately they weren't doing. At 10:30 that night, the two ships collided, the empty Vector crashing into the engine room of the Doña Paz, causing it to lose
Oh
power
my
within
God.
minutes. So people are then in darkness, but not for long, because then shortly after, the Doña Paz burst into flames because of the fire from the gasoline.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
So passengers are panicking. So I can imagine like no power. The only light they would have had is from these huge
A
flames
fire.
that they're trying to escape from.
What the fuck?
People are panicking. They're trying to find their family. There's nowhere to go. Many people are trapped below deck at this point with nowhere to escape. And again, overcrowded. I can't even imagine. 3 of the survivors end up sharing their story. Their names were Morris Apura, Alamario Baleni, and Jerosa Batila, or I'm not butchering their names too much. They had actually stayed on the deck because the lower decks were just too crowded. And one of them even remembers feeling the initial collision and witnessing all this stuff unfold. So
Wow.
they decided to jump into the water, which was dangerous in itself because there was so much gasoline pouring out and
Oh,
flames
wait,
that
wait,
the
think
whole
about
water was
that.
letting on fire as well. So the
Oh my
water is like, it's like
Jesus.
jumping into boiling hot water at this point.
Oh my God.
Um, the crew itself of the Doña Paz were no help at all. They were probably panicking
Right.
as much as everyone else. They didn't even have life jackets for anyone to hand out. They were locked away. It was chaos. Like everyone was just like screaming. But they weren't prepared for an emergency, I guess, because they didn't do, as far as we can tell from the survivor accounts,
There was no
wasn't
like.
much being done. Yeah. And
Well,
to be fair, if maybe you're right in front of fire, so like you can't do anything, but
okay, but
why are they
every
locked?
boat I've ever been on, they're in more than one place. They're spread
They're
out.
under
They're
your
clearly
seat.
marked. And then especially for a journey longer than 30 minutes, an hour, you are told where they are. Like they do an
Mhm.
announcement. So if you're on
Right.
like a ferry that's 15 minutes, there are very few, but they're probably very like present. And then
Yeah.
if you go on like, so the ferry from North Sydney to Newfoundland, which can be either 8 hours or 10 hours, don't ever take the
Mhm.
ferry, just fucking fly, please.
Yeah.
They do an announcement. They say, this is where everything is. We're all gonna
Yeah.
meet here. Like they give you a little
Every
run through.
flight too. They're like, here are the
Yes.
safety features of this aircraft.
I thought you were gonna need it, but anyway.
Even if you take the
Right.
ferry to Toronto Island, they tell you where your life jackets are.
Yeah, I probably don't listen, but
Yeah.
I can see them everywhere. So I'm like,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're
under
not
your seat,
locked
they're,
away.
You know,
Like, why would
No.
you ever lock them? Like,
the ferry in New
Oh.
Zealand from North Island to South Island is like 4 hours, and they tell you where
Mhm.
everything is. Like, I get it. It's 1987. Maybe things were a little different. We're also in the Philippines. I don't know, but
yeah. I mean,
It's
I'm
bad, though.
guessing they didn't have enough for everyone either way because
Oh, that's just a classic. Again,
their
where is the
passenger
bingo
count was
card
way
for
over.
marine
Right.
disaster?
Mhm. Oh yeah,
Well, you'll
that's
have
true.
to
Just
make
because
one
it's over. Yeah,
now, Megan.
this is a
So-
depressing card to make.
Yeah, I'm on it. Can't wait to
Yeah.
cry while I make this fucking bingo card on Canva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the explosion, there were oil drums flying through the air. Like I said, gasoline everywhere in the water.
God damn.
Anyone there was feeling pretty hopeless at this moment.
So sorry. Is
I
the
can't
other
even
boat on
imagine.
fire too?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. But the Doña Paz
Jesus.
was the one who really caught flames right away because
Okay.
of that gasoline spilling.
So those
everyone's
oil
on
drums,
fire.
Those oil drums, are
Jesus
they coming from
Christ.
the other ship?
Yeah. Yeah, through the explosion, I guess like some of them
Mhm.
shot off the ship and were like probably landing in the
Jesus.
water.
I'm making number 2 because
Yeah,
this
you need it.
this is really sad.
So the survivors that did make into the water had to try to swim underneath the water because the top of the water was just flames.
Like
at this
slick.
point,
Oh my
gasoline.
God,
right.
that's it's like a
So they're trying
nightmare.
to swim away and try to stay under the water as long as possible.
Yeah.
So some of the like one of the survivors that I mentioned, Al Mario, described that he saw a young child try to save him, but he was burned so badly, and he clearly could tell that the child hadn't made it. But those images just haunt him to this
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Jesus.
Even the people who are in the water are just being burned every time they come to the surface. Like it's
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
It must have been a
And
very
it's
large amount of the water that was on fire, eh?
yeah.
Around it, yeah. Fuck.
Um so one man who's a father named Salvador, he was described as trying to like he had jumped in the water and he was hoping his daughter could be found. He was looking everywhere for her. Eludio's her name, and I guess she happened to jump in too, and they somehow miraculously found each other because she was over here being like, I just want this to end. Like she was contemplating just going under and not coming back up because it was
Oh
just
my
too painful to
God.
go to the surface. And then he was saying like, I'm just acknowledging that he's probably not going to make it, and then finding each other gave them that hope to kind of keep
Oh
moving
my
on, and
God.
they eventually
I
swam as long
told
as
you
they
I am on my
could.
period. Why are you doing this?
I know. I
I'm
am so
sorry.
close. I'm like literally teetering. I'm trying to like keep it together and look at Masturbate Island
It's never a good
because
time for me to tell this story, but here we go.
No.
Now, these waters were known for sharks, and some people claim that there could have been shark attacks, but really there was no evidence of this. And I don't think any sharks are coming near like burning hot water.
No, probably
Um,
not. They're
and
I
so
they're
mean,
many
still
people
smart.
are
although that's a
right.
great movie idea. Just
Yeah.
saying.
So as
Write
far
that
as we
down.
know, sharks didn't play a part in this that I saw.
It
Mhm.
just adds to like the risk. Like not only is the water literally on fire,
Right.
but there could
They
It's
be.
shark
probably know
infested.
that there's sharks in the water, and they're gonna obviously be like, something's happening over here.
Mhm.
So it is possible if they swim far enough away that sharks could be like in those waters waiting to see
Can you
if
imagine
they.
you survive
Yeah.
this and you're almost at shore and then a shark gets you?
Well, that's
I can't-
Lindsay's
oh
other
my God.
case.
It's like what do you want? Like flames, drowning, shark. It's like
burning hot
explosion.
oil, water.
It's like pick a poison. Like I can't. It's
Jesus.
really
I guess drowning. I'll take drowning
like
over any of those.
yeah. It would take the Philippine Coast Guard 8 hours to even hear about the disaster.
Oh,
Hear
what?
about?
Wait.
Mhm.
Sorry. What the fuck?
How?
8
Why?
hours. I do not know. But
They didn't send out a distress.
and
They don't
then
have...
another 8 hours after that to respond. It's like,
Wait,
what are you even
Wait,
doing?
why?
Oh, I'm so mad. What the
I know.
fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, do you guys just not work at night or something? Like, what's going on?
I don't think that's how the
Thankfully,
Coast Guard works.
and I know, right? Thankfully, another ship in the area, the MV what was it
I was
called?
like, don't say Donna Pass.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I put the name in, but there was another
Well,
ship in the area.
we're gonna put it right here.
Don
If you
Claudio.
find it.
At
There
the
you go.
MV
Don
Don
Claudio.
Claudio, sorry, was in the area and was able to save some, but ultimately very few passengers. The ship used a net to rescue those who could make it because they first tried to use a rope, but people's like hands were burned and it was
Well,
too
oh my
painful. So they had to use a
God.
net to try to drag them into the boat. I know, like people are having like
Ooh,
insane burns
that made me feel
all over
hot.
their bodies.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
Imagine that sensation of a net being on you
Oh,
while your
okay.
skin is
Ugh.
burnt.
Woo! Woo! Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
After the search and rescue efforts concluded, only 24 survivors were pulled from the water,
Oh
and 2 survivors from the crew of the Vector. So 24 from the Doña Paz and 2 from the Vector.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
In the days afterwards, some of the bodies would be found washed ashore, badly burned. It was just terrible. So the locals would have to like try to bury these bodies, and I can't imagine. There was
This
a
would be one of the
claim
worst stories
that
you've ever told, I think.
I know it. Well, it is the worst maritime disaster, at least peacetime. So not counting like wartime.
No, of course,
Um,
but wow.
Yeah. There was a rumor that a young 4-year-old boy might have been pulled from the water as a passenger, but it wasn't completely confirmed. So the youngest passenger was potentially a 14-year-old girl named Valerina Duma, but as you can tell, I said there was a lot of children undocumented, and
Oh.
maybe only 2 really made it out. So the office of Sulpicio Shipping Lines were obviously met with outraged families of members. They had their family members had died, and they knew they were on the ship. So even though they're waiting for this passenger list that didn't reflect maybe their family member's name, they wanted answers. Like, no, like my person was on this ship.
Mm-hmm.
So the shipping line itself said there was 1,493 passengers and denied the ship was overcrowded. So allegedly saying that they didn't have any idea of this in the first place. Um,
Convenient.
so there was an official inquiry that was started. They found that the Vector had a lot of issues as well. It was not seaworthy. It was
What?
steering off course. They had to have 2 people to properly steer it, so it was constantly kind of going back and forth. And
That's
I
like how
guess
I drive in my dream. I can't keep the car straight. Yeah, that's how.
so, but I guess I had like a green or red light if it was going to go starboard or port, and it would have a white light if it was going straight. So if the Doña Paz crew is looking out and seeing this, they might have been confused about where the ship is going.
I'm also confused. I hate all of this. How come none of the
Yeah.
boats are like legally safe to be on the water? I just don't understand.
Yeah, it is terrible. So, the Vector really shouldn't have been on the water at all. It didn't have any proper license, and apparently the
Oh.
crew was not very well trained at all. And at the point of
Motherfucker.
this happening, it was like someone very junior operating the ship at this time of night anyway. So it was
course.
just terrible all
Just
around.
put the teenager at the hull and see what happens. It's
Yeah.
only gasoline that we got on here. It's fine.
And make
Oil
sure that you
drums.
update the
Mhm.
light bright every 15 minutes. These are the little colored nubs that you need. And
Oh, you need
just
2 people to do this? We
We're-
might not do
well,
We're guessing the radar.
that. Yeah.
It's fine.
radar. Oh, do we have one?
Oh,
I don't
no,
even.
that is the light bright. That is the light
Oh,
bright.
the light bright.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
there is an Etch-a-Sketch that has the route. So just look at that. Don't shake it.
yeah.
Don't shake it. Just look at
Nope.
the route on the Etch-a-Sketch.
Or just through Battleship. Just guess.
Yeah,
the whole
just
time.
guess where the other ship is.
Yeah. So this is going to be even more infuriating. So they were both
Oh!
traveling really slow at the time
Okay.
of the accident.
Okay.
And there was lots and lots of space to pass safely. So
I
there's
mean,
really
if
no
this is
reason.
the X on the map, it looks pretty spacious there.
There was enough space. There was plenty of space. It was also a fairly clear night. There was no like clouds. There was obviously no icebergs. There was nothing
In the Philippines, there's no icebergs?
I know, right? So, there was really no reason why this had to happen. Now, it came out later that there were rumors from those who could tell the tale that the crew of the Doña Paz may have been a little sidetracked that night. So there's a party on board, and many of the crew were in attendance. The
Okay, I was
captain was in
joking,
his
but they were
room
drinking.
potentially watching a movie at the time.
Wait, which movie? No, I'm kidding. That's
I
so
do
bad.
not
I'm
know.
sorry. That's so bad.
I do not know, but apparently it was on a Betamax, which we never even used those, right? It was
No,
like
we
a
are
typical
just
VHS
I
past
think
type
that's
that.
thing.
kind of like
Yeah.
the A tracks where it's like they were a blip in the existence of
Yeah.
technology and then they left. Yeah.
Yeah, because we are VHS kids. So
I
this
am
was-
like, this is clearly incredibly outrageous and devastating. And
Mhm.
because I'm so fucked up, I am curious what the movie is.
I mean,
Yeah.
me too, a little bit, but still,
Yeah.
it doesn't
I
matter.
don't know
We
if we'll
probably
ever know
don't even
because
know it.
he and none of the other crew members of the Doña Paz
God.
survived.
Like
So-
it's all sad, but like when you are part of the crew, like your job first and
Mhm.
foremost is the safety of
Mhm.
everyone on board, including yourself and your other
Right.
crew members. So what in the fuck? Like I'm just so like, and this is like what 37 years ago. So like, why are you so
Yeah.
mad? Like it's so long, but it's just
Now this
wow.
is a little bit like based off people's accounts, so it's hard to prove exactly what was happening because we can't ask those people.
No.
But just people said that that's what they heard a party going on, and that apparently there was an apprentice manning the ship at the time. So
I would believe
maybe-
it, honestly, based on everything else that you've said.
Right. They haven't been safe at all, really. So normally ships communicate with each other, but this did not happen in this case. Both ships did not have a working radio, which is a big no-no.
What?
Like all ships need to have a working radio so they can
So is
communicate with
this why
each
they
other.
couldn't tell the Coast Guard what happened too? Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
yelling.
yeah. I mean, that could
I will
be
calm myself. Sorry.
because no one could radio for help right away. So it was kind of based on probably that.
Maybe somebody ashore will see something.
Also, this is
Right.
1987, not
And the rescue ship.
1901. People
Yeah.
on shore have phones and they do have shortwave radios on shore, and they see a giant fireball, they hear screaming, and they're like, damn, what the hell? Anyway, I gotta get to
Yeah.
bed. Like, what in the hell? Although it's not their fault. I'm sure people were
Right.
calling around, and the Coast Guard's like,
I
no,
just don't
we're
know how
having
a
our
ship-
staff Christmas party, so we're busy right
Right.
now.
Do you
Like, I
know
don't-
who actually finally contacted the Coast Guard? Does it say?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No, I probably it might have been like the vessel that picked up some of the survivors potentially because they would have
Okay.
once they got to the area.
Oh,
they
8
probably would've-
hours.
Fair.
8 hours
They,
later. Wow.
Maybe
yeah,
they
but they
had
were
a
there
working
sooner. So I
radio.
really don't understand why it took 8 hours to notify, considering that other ship was in the area and picked people up a lot sooner.
I'm
it's-
so mad.
So the Vector had an expired radio license, and the one on the Doña Paz was fake.
Oh,
Fake.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's worse than having none.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I am now yelling. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We can
So
control
the Board
ourselves.
of Marine Inquiry ruled in their findings that eyewitnesses were not a credible source for estimating the number of passengers on board, and Sulpicio Lines was held not liable. So even though they'd actually they did receive money from insurance and they did use that to pay out the victims' families, but it was only equal to about $667 in today's money for each.
Oh, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, and
Everything's
that's
fine.
not for those who were those only for those who were documented passengers. So there's a lot of other people undocumented. And at the end of the day, $600 for your deceased loved one is nothing. I mean, no amount of money.
And that
would
doesn't
be,
even count the
but-
children that were probably deceased as well.
Exactly.
And this is
And-
to rub salt in the wound, but the Philippines is an extremely religious country, and they give them 667. That's like almost like the devil's number. And I feel like that is just
to be
rude.
fair, it was like 400 something, but I'm just saying the equivalent from 2024 US dollars.
Okay, I'm slightly less
So-
mad, but that would be like very
Yeah, that's just a
insane.
coincidence of the time.
I
money
don't believe in
ratio thing.
coincidences. I think that's inside.
I agree. This is definitely devil work of everything that's
Yeah.
happening here.
That's
So,
fair.
I mean, like humans are just really bad, so it's just dumb humans and greedy humans.
So the blame was placed on the Vector ultimately because they were operating without a license, didn't have an experienced person really on board, like a reliable
That's-
crew.
Yeah, that's bad. They both are
Yeah.
fucking. Oh
they
my
both
God, man.
are, and I think
Well-
really they're both they both messed up. But having like that much dangerous explosives and not
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
having
No,
a crew
no,
that
for
can
sure.
figure it out, like that's just
No, for sure.
unacceptable. And it sounded like their steering was off too. So
Oh my God, I
Um,
just like okay, I'm just so overwhelmed with how many bad things are happening at the same time.
I know, right?
I can't. I'm just can't. I can't.
It's just the fact that this didn't have to happen in the first place, that any responsible human could have intervened at some
Just
point.
one.
Well, it's
One
just like,
person.
it's one of those things again where a catastrophe has to happen before obviously I'm hoping you're going to tell us about changes that are coming from this. But it's like, yes, they have probably done this route so many times and they're like, it's fine. It's always been fine. We don't need a
could
radio.
do it with your
we don't
eyes
need a working
closed.
radio. Yeah, exactly. And all it takes is this one time that some jackass is coming down the road that doesn't know how to drive.
You know what it reminds me of? And we won't go into it, but drinking and driving.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everyone knows not to do it. Everyone knows that. And people do it all
All the
the time. And their
Especially
excuse
if you're from a rural area.
100%. And the
There's
reason
no
is,
Uber or
well,
whatever.
I've done it. I've done it all these times and nothing's ever happened. So the drunk
Yeah.
driver in this case is the Doña Paz because
Mhm.
they've done it probably hundreds of times.
Yeah,
I
they've
mean,
always overloaded that ship. They're like, it's all good.
and then there's someone else on the other side who is maybe also drinking and driving. Maybe they work night shift and they fell asleep at the wheel. Also bad.
Mhm.
And all it takes is one time to, I mean, like over what, like 1,500 people, probably more, died
Right.
And everything was preventable. Like every step of this was preventable.
Yeah. And they did there was one thing I saw about the fact that it's so overloaded would have made it harder, obviously, to turn because
Yeah,
there's so
'cause
many
you're
people.
overloaded.
Yeah.
But I think
And
at
the
this,
listing.
I don't even know if it would have made a difference if no one's really paying attention. It seemed like they would have
If everybody's
it wasn't like
partying and
someone
watching a
noticed
movie.
and tried to move last minute. It seemed like they just weren't paying attention at all. And
Like
this,
both are at
who
fault.
was,
But I
yeah.
understand why the other ship got the
It's like
blame, quote unquote.
each driver
Yeah.
thought that the other one was watching the hull.
Yeah. But guess what? You
Right.
both need to because you
Yeah.
both are driving effing ships.
Yeah.
And it does sound like the Vector crashed into the engine part of the Doña Paz.
Which,
So-
how do you aim for that? Like, what in the hell?
So I guess I could say that, well, you crashed into this ship versus the other way around. I don't know.
Fucking guess so.
But-
Anyway, we're
But
splitting
that's
hairs.
like saying somebody that's like this whole thing of driving without insurance, right? So
Mhm.
somebody can hit you, but if you don't have insurance, you are then at fault because you shouldn't be in the road. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
also you are also breaking laws, so you should also be at fault even though the other person hit you.
Mhm.
Once again, you should not be in the water.
Yeah. But ultimately, yeah, because the Vector got the blame, then the Sulpicio Lines did pay out the victims from their insurance.
Yeah, like
as-
pocket
yeah.
change. But
But then the Vector was supposed to pay out ultimately. And Supreme Court did rule that everyone deserved compensation, even those not listed on the official manifest.
Okay. Thank
Now,
you.
did they get money? It wasn't really clear to me. It looks like some people successfully sued Vector's operations, but I don't
they
think
were
everyone has
awarded
the money
money.
to even do
How-
that, right?
How are they able to
Oh.
really prove that their family members didn't just go missing and that they were actually on it if they were undocumented though?
maybe like letters,
So
right?
when it comes to
Maybe?
the actual count, I'm actually getting into this right now. They did an
Okay.
investigation around that as well. So basically they could count the children of the people who were documented, for example. They were with them. And there was also like I said, there was a bunch of soldiers that I think boarded as well that they could trace back to.
them.
And then a lot of people were just reporting their family members missing. So I think they just investigated all those different claims to get the final count. And to give you some idea too, so just giving these odds, out of the 26 survivors, only 5 were listed on the official ship manifest. So that tells you alone, these people were definitely on the ship. They're the
Oh,
survivors.
got chills.
God,
What
And
the
only
hell?
5, were listed. Out of the 21 bodies pulled immediately from the water right after the disaster, only 1 was on the manifest.
Oh my
What?
God. Well, hello.
So that's pretty good evidence there, just those odds.
And didn't
of
they
how
try
many
to say
people
that
are not
wasn't actually
accounted for.
happening?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making
Wow.
sure.
Well, and I guess they were,
my
as far as they were saying too, maybe it was that, okay, we acknowledge maybe this did happen, but it wasn't our fault. We didn't know, maybe is what they were.
The
they weren't
owners
trying to-
themselves, they're like,
But it
"We didn't
doesn't
know this was
matter if you know
happening."
or not, because as you know, the head of the company, the GM, whatever,
Somebody
bear
has to be at fault,
responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
you,
oh my God.
You are the ones that have hired the people, even if you didn't directly hire them.
Yeah.
You are the ones that hired the
Yeah.
people to hire the
You
people
are
that are there.
responsible.
You
Now-
are ultimately responsible.
Chantel, on
Yeah.
the flip side, it reminds me of that beautiful captain of the USS Indy who did everything right. And remember, he was blamed and then he was,
Mhm.
remember?
Yeah.
Remember? And then we were crying about him. Lindsay, can
Yeah.
you
Right.
maybe do a happy one next time?
I will. Well, the next one
Oh,
won't
no.
be that
She's like,
tragic.
wait, well, not
it won't be
the
that
next one.
tragic. It'll be sort of tragic, but not to this
God.
level.
Okay.
This is literally, like I said,
This is like the worst one I
greatest
think you've ever done.
maritime disaster
That's right.
in at least peacetime.
Which, can I just say on the record, I have never heard of this, to my knowledge. Like, I don't recall
Yeah.
ever hearing about
I
this
never heard
ever.
about it either. I mean, maybe it was a big thing back in the 80s when we were babies. Maybe
But
it was in the news.
how many
stuff,
stories have
but
we heard
you were
about
just-
since
you were-
then
you
that are
were
also
in-
old?
8-day-old baby. Megan,
gonna
when
say,
this
hey.
happened.
Yeah,
You
you
have an
better watch
excuse
out what
to
you
not
say.
How did you not know
So-
all about this, Megan?
Yeah.
Yeah, how come my
You s-
mom didn't put this in my newborn scrapbook?
Newborn baby scrapbook.
Hey, you gotta bless
1600
the world events.
died in the Philippines. Like, why was that not in my Anyway.
Now, it definitely was world news, I gather, because like I said, Pope John Paul II and Queen Elizabeth
Oh.
II, they're all doing like a acknowledgement of what happened. So
Okay.
it was out there at the time,
Okay.
but I think it was just
It
something
just
that's
didn't
probably been
stick.
forgotten,
It
and
lost.
it didn't
too.
stick
Yeah.
like the Titanic did. And obviously, we know our theory as to why these passengers just aren't
We're normal,
considered
everyday people, probably a
right.
lot like living, under the poverty line. Hence why everyone's,
Right.
like, so let's just say this is totally made up. Let's say a ticket's $50. It's like, well,
Mhm.
here's 15. You don't get a spot.
Right.
You may not get a spot to sleep, but it's something. Like,
Yeah.
people are just doing whatever they can to get on this
And it's a
ferry.
holiday, so everyone travel during the holidays. We all know is terrible.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I don't want
Don't
to
do
travel during
it.
the holidays. I'm not. I tell my family every year, I'm like, you're not seeing me at Christmas. Sorry.
Love you. Here's a
But-
photo.
Exactly. Here's a photo
Not
of
to
me
mention the
in
East
my
Coast,
house.
not so great on the Christmas. Can't
No.
go
What?
outside.
Everything's
Like-
wet and frozen at the same
At the same
time,
time.
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
Your bones
I'm like,
hurt.
I'll see
okay?
you in June or July,
Yeah.
August. That's when I'll
Or
be
like,
there.
yeah, I was gonna say August. That's when the
Yeah.
water, even September, it
Yeah,
finally
September's
gets warm.
nice.
And then the
Yeah.
hurricanes come. Anyway.
But even
Perfect.
October, would consider a trip. But once you get to November,
Oh,
I'm like, I
'cause
will
the
see you
leaves.
in May or June.
Oh.
I am not coming back. So
Can I just
Yeah.
tell you, my mom's at the bungalow very recently. It could have been around Mother's Day. And two of her like friends / neighbors are out for dinner or wherever they are. So they're coming back down. They see the cabin lights on. They go, we're going to go visit Patty. Also, Mom, shout out. She's texted me saying she's going to watch our
Hi,
newest
Patty.
episode. And she's like, wait, what does she say? She says, have fun. Tell the audience how much you love your mother. And then I'm like, I will. And she goes, no, I'm only kidding. I'm like, too bad. I'm saying it. Too late. I
Okay,
love
say
my
it.
mom so much. I love her so much. So she's
Aw.
at the bungalow by herself, just hanging out. And so her friends come in. So of course it's like midnight. They finally are like, okay, I guess we're gonna go. My mom's like, thank you. Like, please leave.
Yeah.
And she's kind
Bedtime.
of watching them. she's watching them go down the driveway to leave. And she's looking and she's like, what is that outside? Is it raining? Is that ash? It was snowing.
What?
What?
It's
Snowing.
May.
That's
That's rude.
It's gonna
okay.
be May. Now it didn't stick, but of course her brain goes into hyperdrive, and she's like, "Oh my god, all my plans that she just
Yeah,
spent like
there was
the
a frost
weekend."
warning.
Yeah.
I
So
follow the weather.
do you know how many times I've
Our little
left and I have no idea
meteorologist.
that it's gonna rain in like 20 minutes? I have no idea, and I'm just like, well, anywho. So the rain or the snow didn't stick, but just perspective. I mean, that's a classic Nova Scotia thing. If you're from there, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
If you-
Well,
It's
I'm
been cold
sorry.
here actually.
I was gonna say here feels like Nova Scotia weather right now with what's
Yeah.
going on.
I feel like we're in March right now. It's
yeah.
been cold.
yes. Where's the sun?
I don't know.
Can you tell we're trying to not talk about the
I
case
know.
right
Okay,
now?
I have
right now,
one
yeah.
last terrible point to
Let's
make.
not
so maybe I
derail.
just- maybe I just make it and then
I'm just
Okay,
gonna pet
and
my
then we
cat.
can stop being
Okay,
this,
I'm gonna
like,
pet my
depressed.
my
So-
whiskey and Coke. Lindsay, go ahead.
So the Philippine National Bureau of Investigation came to the conclusion in February of 1988 that the total count of passengers was more than 3,999 passengers and 59 crew, which was later updated. Oh, gotta get her to come back.
What?
Oh,
Three-
sorry.
Sorry,
You
we're
left before it got
three?
worse. You
Sorry.
left. Wait. It's good. Let me just finish this line because it gets worse.
Okay.
In 1999, the Presidential Task Force actually updated this to be 4,347 lives lost. With those on the Vector who died too, it brings the total to 4,385 total lives lost.
Lindsay!
I know.
Oh my
What
fucking god!
I know. And that's why it's the worst maritime disaster in peacetime.
Three?
So,
Over
there's over 4,000 people
but
died.
that's including the Vector. But you're talking about how many were
Even
over?
with just even the new estimate with just the Doña Paz was 4,347 people.
for
I
something
know.
that are 608
Mhm.
to 4,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were not like, I believe, these survivors that everyone was packed in.
They would have
Like
been
I said, some
fucking
people were, like,
sardines.
5 family members on a little cot type of thing. Just
I'm trying really hard to like not go
Mhm.
there, because this is overwhelming.
Mhm.
And there was 24 survivors,
Yeah, 26 in total if you count the survivors from the Vector.
Which is like statistically no one, really.
Right.
Holy shit.
that's like not even
Can you
5%.
believe
That's
that many?
5%.
There's so it I blew my mind hearing the amount of people who survived versus died. Like unbelievable. So many are just were
How have
just
I
trapped in
never
this
heard of this?
inferno, and I know, right?
I'm not
And
okay.
it's weird too. I looked up on Encyclopedia Britannica, and it doesn't even have its own page. Was just literally a
What?
Oh
list of
my
7 top worst
God.
disasters. It didn't even have its own page. It does for Wikipedia, but I was like, how does Encyclopedia Britannica not have a page about this?
That's so fucked up.
I'm
That's
not
so
Yeah.
fucked
okay.
up.
It's
And they would
and
have
like
all
sometimes
been
with
from the Philippines. Like, this isn't like
yeah.
even people. It's not like with the Titanic where it's like, this are a bunch of people
No.
from different
These are all
generations all coming over.
local,
It's
everyday
Yeah.
people who
that
are
is
literally going to visit their family
that
on
is
the Big
a
Island, right?
huge
Right.
hit to the population there.
Think about how many
Huge.
communities lost
Mhm.
like core members of their community.
Actually, I saw one stat that 79 teachers died, probably going
Oh
home for
my
the holidays. 79
God.
teachers. So like imagine losing that many teachers.
Jesus.
This is okay. So I just watched the movie Final Destination Bloodlines. Go see it.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
It is so good. And the whole idea about bloodlines, I'm not going to ruin it too much, but
Yeah.
it's called
Yeah, I
Bloodlines.
know. I
So
know what it is. It's I get the premise
So
of it.
the whole idea is that, as you know, with the whole Final Destination is that people that are meant to die don't, and then death comes for them one by one. So in this case, death took a long time to get people on that list. And you think about, let's say 30 people who die, everyone they would have married and had kids with, and how many
Yeah.
people are impacted. And so think about
Yeah.
all these families that now their whole family is wiped out.
Yeah. And the few people who did survive are just, I can't imagine their mess. Like one guy said, he's like, I never stepped foot on a boat ever again.
Hell
I wouldn't go near
no.
the water
And
ever again.
no.
I
Hell
wouldn't go near
no.
fire ever again.
I wouldn't drink
No.
water.
Yeah. And like one guy who swam away, he was like, after he finally got to that point of like realizing that he was away from the disaster,
Yeah.
like setting it, like having that set in that what just happened, like, oh my God, like why would this happen? How could this happen?
How do you
Like,
ever start to move on from that?
I don't know. And seeing what they saw, like,
Ugh.
I can't even imagine.
There's not enough therapy in the world for
too.
these people. There's not enough
Right, and they
therapy in the
just
world.
the people in the water who did survive just assumed that they were going to die. All
She
they
said
could
the
do
one
was
girl
try to
was like, I was
swim.
thinking about drowning myself.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, she's
could you
like, 'cause she had to
imagine
go
being in
under
that
and
where you're like,
under.
I have to make a choice right now. Am I
Mhm.
drowning myself or am I continuing to burn alive to try and survive in hopes of surviving?
The fact
She
that a
actually,
father and daughter met each other is
oh my
like,
God,
okay,
I
think about
the
who
one
actually
miracle.
survived, and then
Yeah.
two family members find each other. That is,
Yeah, I think her
I,
daughter was 18 at the time.
ugh,
And she was in one of the videos I watched. And like it's like her eye is like was burnt, so it's like
yeah.
almost looks like
And
white
so every day you
now.
look in the mirror, you have a
You
memory
see
of
that
this. Like
memory, right?
you're never.
Lindsay,
I just don't know how you move on.
why
Really,
did you tell me this?
I'm sorry.
This is not the
I'm
week to
sorry.
tell me this.
I'm trying. Oh, Chantel, don't you
Oh,
start.
no. Take a deep
I'm-
breath. Look
Fuck
at
you,
Sanus.
Chantel.
Look
No,
at
I was
Sanus.
holding on.
Oh, I can't. This is fucking
I know.
terrible.
And I had a lot longer to take this in than you guys, so
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, let's.
My final point, which is not
It's
any
that's
more
all
sad
Go
than
for
you've
it.
already heard,
Go for
is that the wreck
Okay.
was found in 2019. It's about 500 meters down.
Oh, right. I
Which is
didn't
about
even think
1,600
about that.
feet.
It was only found
Um,
in 2019.
Well, I think they probably knew approximately where it was, maybe, but That's when they found it, I guess. It was sitting upright in decent condition considering what happened. And then 22
Fuck.
meters away is the Vector in a similar state. So sitting upright on the ocean floor.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't even really look, and I like shipwreck pictures, but I just didn't want to
No,
even
I
look at
wouldn't.
these
I don't.
ones.
I don't know.
No.
Something
So
about
I
that
didn't
feels
include
weird.
any photos for those.
It feels kind of like when we got into the whole thing about the Titanic, about raising it like it's a
Right.
graveyard. Like this
Yeah.
is
And
a
it is a
graveyard.
graveyard. And I can't even imagine, like, there's so many people inside there that lost their lives.
So many
And their
children.
families never probably really got justice. I mean, there's no amount of money could ever fix it, but
Oh
a
God.
lot of them were just swept under the rug and not even like, oh, well,
This
you're
whole-
not on the list. Well, why aren't they on the list? Whose fault is that? So,
Yeah.
This is like
Yeah.
the worst story I've ever heard.
I know.
Jesus.
It's just like that number of people, like, it's just
That's
unfathomable.
astounding.
Outrageous.
Yeah. It really is.
Jesus Christ.
So, well, that's the story of the worst holiday season ever.
Yeah.
And
Well,
fuck.
I wanted to tell it though because the fact that I never heard of this before.
No.
Um,
I'm
just
I'm
blows
not
my
even a
mind.
glimpse.
I am
Yeah.
glad that you, because I had never heard of this. This is like
No. So I'm sorry we had to hear it today, but
Fuck,
I'm glad we
no,
know about
no.
it now.
No.
no, we're just teasing you. I just
And-
can't
and
believe
I
that
know,
I've never
like,
heard of
you
this and how
said,
bad it is.
Did good things come of it? I don't think so. Really, I didn't really see anything
Fuck.
like it. Just
There
because
was no
those
changes of
the
being like,
rules were
hey, it's
already
a
in
law to have a
place.
fucking
It wasn't
working radio.
right.
Okay,
It wasn't
no,
like
no,
that.
now
There was already
Have a
a
real
rule.
radio, Chantel, because one had a
Yeah.
fake
yeah, sure.
radio.
Yeah, right. It was the fucking
so,
telephone
yeah.
toy that you see with kids.
I mean, there was already rules that they just broke, so it wasn't like
Yeah.
they had to create a new rule. It's like you just didn't follow the rules. So
Yeah.
maybe they could do more.
Once again,
check-ins with-
corporations
Yeah.
making money to just make money. That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Or people, or just everyday
And if some
people
of them,
just pocketing
yeah,
money.
and if it was some of your crew doing it, then where's your oversight to
people
make sure before
knew.
you leave?
You can't
Mhm.
tell me that the captain of the ship who knows that they're only supposed to have, well, now that we've doubled it, 11,000 people
Right.
doesn't notice that there's 4,000 people on board.
Sorry, like it's
Right.
actually so dumb. But you know what it is? So if there was over 4,000 people on this ship at Christmas, like maybe that was a little bit overpacked because it was Christmas time, and it is a Christian country, but you just know that on every other day it was likely double at least. Like if this was,
Fair. Yeah, I don't think it was
so
probably
he
worse.
knows
at this time of year.
exactly.
They were
And
turning a
also-
blind eye to it because they were like, whatever.
100%.
And they might have even been getting
Yeah,
a cut
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
For
It's
sure.
normally
I
an
knew what you're
easy,
trying to
like,
say.
I think it's normally an easy route for them to go and that's why they probably weren't even properly paying attention. They're like, well, just kind of go straight. But
Lindsay,
you
it's
can't
the
do
same thing.
that.
It's so easy. We've done this through 1,000 times. You know
Right.
what? Why don't we add four
Exactly.
fucking thousand people on this boat that's meant to hold 608? Because all the extra people will get a cut under the table. The CEO doesn't
Yeah.
have to know we're taking this extra cash. And who the fuck cares if people are, a family to a bed? It's 20 hours. Who the fuck cares? Because it's fine,
know.
and everyone's gonna get there done 1,000 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Everybody's made it. There's never been a ship that's coming the wrong way that also has a,
It's your cat dying.
she has her cough. It's okay. The
Oh.
the sound effects take it out. They're not expecting to have the ship coming their way, and I
No.
understand that, but that doesn't mean that you should break the rules. Just
Yep.
because it's
Right.
worked
Yeah.
90% of the time.
Yeah.
60% of the time it
yeah.
works
every time.
every time.
I did look
Well,
up something to lighten
oh.
the mood.
Oh,
Okay,
thank
thank
God.
you. Thank
Wait,
you.
well, first of all, I just want to say, Lindsay, that was
Oh.
really difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
I've told, and actually, Chantel, you too, we've all told
We've
really
all
heavy
told
stories.
hard ones. Yeah.
And it is so important because a lot of these stories no one fucking knows about.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
like, you don't have your own page on Encyclopedia Britannica, really?
I know.
And 4,000 people died
They're
at Christmas
headquartered
time.
here. I'm like, want to go there and be like,
Bang
what
on the
hell?
door. I'll-
Make
listen,
a page for
We'll
this.
come down with you.
Yeah.
But just thank you for telling us, because this is a story that I've never heard of. I never probably would have known unless for this podcast. So that was tough,
Oh,
but thank you.
There's
You've-
so many
you've
things that I'm
educated
learning on this podcast. That's amazing.
big
Yeah.
time. Big
I
time.
know.
So
Some of
anyway,
them
Chantel,
are sad
tell
to
your
learn,
fact.
but
I
here we
do
go.
not know.
Yes.
Okay, you didn't let me finish what I was saying. So I was trying to look it up to lighten the mood later. I don't know
But
if
you
it is.
didn't?
It's not as funny anymore.
Fuck. Okay.
3 Men and a Baby was the most popular Betamax movie in December of 1987.
3-minute baby.
3 Men and a Baby.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? What is this movie? 3 Men and a Baby.
I thought maybe this wasn't going to end so fucking dreary that I'd be like, ha ha ha, the captain was watching this.
Wait,
But,
I have a story about that movie that is
Oh,
makes it
okay.
even more creepy.
Okay.
Not that it was meant to be creepy,
Right.
but there was this urban legend that there was the ghost of a young man found in footage of that movie that people saw it in theaters, they saw it on TV, and there was like, who is this mysterious person? And it was only in there for like a few frames, and there was a person in that scene that's not meant to be there, and they're like,
It's not
a
an extra?
ghost. No, not an extra. Where the person's scene makes no sense because they're kind of hiding behind like
okay.
this curtain, and they're like, who the fuck is that
Well,
person?
now I want to watch this scene.
And so they're like, maybe the scene was haunted, and it turns out it was a cardboard cutout
Oh my God.
of a person. So for
So they just like
decades.
Home Alone themselves.
Yep. And they're like,
Wow.
who is that secret person? And it was literally a cardboard cutout of someone like kind of behind a wall of the curtain. And it was like no one even noticed it was there. But, years later on DVD and VHS, they're like, pausing, who is that? It's literally no one's cardboard cutout.
Mystery solved.
I do have one more fact that I found very quickly.
Okay.
Wombats, they poop
Poop
in
cubes.
cubes. Yes. They are the
What-
only known
why do I-
species to poop in cubes. And why do you know
How?
this?
I don't know why I know that. Like,
It's something to do
why?
with their intestines. They poop cubes.
Do I want to see this?
Okay.
Uh,
That was terrible, Lindsay. I love
they also
you.
wait, which is the animal that has lots of chlamydia? Koalas?
That's koalas.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's
Don't
going
don't
on?
touch a
with
koala.
What's going on with
With the
Australia?
marsupials.
They're pooping cubes.
They're pooping
Oh,
cubes.
yeah, their intestinal
spreading
regions
chlamydia.
squeeze slowly and mold the final corners
Yeah.
of the cube.
I think wombats also have their babies on their back. Like that's where their pouch is.
Yes,
This is on
you
their
know how
front.
you know
Because
how
of
we know
one
that
with the
Yes!
with the kid with the chocolate bar. We'll send it to you, Lindsay. Yeah.
Okay.
Shocker bar.
Chocolate bar. Okay.
Listen,
what?
it was very informative,
It was.
and
I'm happy
I
you did
hate
that.
I
as
hated it
sad
for
as I am.
how it makes me feel, but also
Mhm.
I think that it makes me happy that we all feel the same way and we feel like we are empathetic people. So I think that
Mhm.
these are the stories that
Yeah,
once in a
don't want
while
to hear
it's important
this,
to
but
cover.
these are very important.
Yes.
But thank
They
you
are
for
the
the
important ones to
facts.
cover.
And now my brain is more curious about this wombat poop situation. So I'm
No,
gonna
like, no,
Yeah, what's
dive
going
and,
on?
and maybe we could all go watch 3 Men and a Baby. But
and
no.
find the
But make
the
sure you're still
scene.
manning the ship if you need to.
Oh my
Um,
god! And make sure that the light bright's plugged in or has batteries. My
Yeah.
god!
do like literally
And
any sort of
Don't
Don't
shake
shake
the
the
Etch-a-Sketch.
Etch-a-Sketch.
How many times have we told you? I write the path of the ship on that.
Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn it!
Okay.
follow like regular safety protocols. Have a
Yes,
rating.
Wow!
You
Wow!
know
What?
They're there for a reason, okay?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
It's like it's not like just one thing went wrong. Like it's all these
Oh,
stories.
so
It's
many.
like multiple things. Like
Oh, Lindsay,
It's
maybe
the perfect
also
disaster.
unlock and keep unlocked
Yeah.
the life
the life
vests.
X.
Yes,
I don't know.
why ever
so
lock.
that way, if the person with the lock or the key dies,
Is dead
or
Yeah.
like
gone.
falls off the edge,
Right.
or is just like in such a hysteria that he can't do anything. You know what? I'm getting hot. Okay.
No one's stealing life jackets, right?
Okay,
don't
so
need the
one
locked
time,
up.
one time I no, I'm kidding. I did do that.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
fuck. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what to
Well,
say. So
we'll just say bye.
thank you.
Sorry
Yeah.
for being so
Okay.
loud. I was
End
emotional.
this. End this.
Yes.
Hey,
end this.
listener, have you heard something that is absolutely devastating that one of us should cover that involves water?
It doesn't have to be
Let us
devastating.
know.
Just something you just found out.
Well,
We don't want to.
something
I
that
mean,
isn't as well known. You know,
Yeah.
our algorithm's pretty good at feeding us a lot of this stuff now. Lindsay's is a little
Mhm.
messed up with home mods.
hey,
but
wait,
like,
hey. Well, Chantel
Yeah.
was like, I sent the group something. She's like, I've already seen this. There was a crab riding a jellyfish.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
that was
So
amazing.
Megan will
I'm
be
gonna-
reposting that soon.
And just remember, salmon hats always make us feel better too.
yes.
Oh,
So orca
can we
salmon
just do a
hats.
quick prayer to
To
our
the
Lord and
salmon
Savior,
gods?
Salmon Hat? Yeah.
Salmon hat.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, until next time.
Mhm.
Dry those
Well,
eyes, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
We love
Yep.
you all. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Bye. Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.